Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from Kiss.
Feliz Navidad, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas from Kiss.
Ho, ho, ho! I'm wishing everybody a really Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year.
Someone stole Santa? That does not rock!
What's going on, vinyl community? Welcome to another episode of 25 Days of KISSmas, where every day leading up to KISSmas, I will be reviewing and discussing every Kiss studio album plus more. For the 20th episode, I will be reviewing the Revenge album from 1992, and after a rather successful tour in support of the Hot in the Shade album, due to the band tapping back into their past and infusing the setlist with some old school favorites, Kiss decided to join forces once again with producer Bob Ezrin for the first time since 1981's Music from the Elder, and before work on the album would commence, Eric Carr was diagnosed with heart cancer and had to undergo open heart surgery, and while out of commission, Eric Singer, who had played on Paul's solo tour and some demos and tracks on the Hot in the Shade album, was a hired gun behind the drum kit until Carr was healthy enough to return. Unfortunately, his health declined and unfortunately passed away on November 24th, 1991, same day as Queen's Freddie Mercury, and due to his death, Eric Singer would automatically become his replacement, and the band decided to move forward into the 90s with a harder sound and image, and the end result being Revenge is perhaps Kiss finally being confident being out of the makeup. So let's dig into the album. Side 1, Track 1, Unholy. From the menacing guitar scratches at the beginning of the song to the heavy instrumentation, this song perfectly sets the tone for the new heavier direction the band is taking here. And despite the turmoil that had boiled over when he was in Kiss in the early 1980s, Gene teamed up with former guitarist Vinnie Vincent to do some writing, to which Vinnie contributed some lyrical ideas and a lot of changes to the overall arrangement of this song, which was originally based off of an old Wicked Lester song called Keep Me Waiting. The song itself is based on the ideology that within all of us, there is a little bit of evil present. This song was the first single released off the album and the first Kiss single in 10 years since 1982's I Love It Loud to be written by Gene, which is a pleasant change since Paul took more of a dominating role, and rightfully so given that Gene was focused on other endeavors, but this track here signaled his return to the forefront. The sepia tone of the music video and its twisted imagery fits the song well, but unfortunately the single didn't do much, but it still received a live airing on the Revenge tour and sporadically after. Track 2, Take It Off. This song was a collab between Paul, Bob Ezrin, and Kane Roberts, who was one of Alice Cooper's guitarists in the 1980s. Paul had set out to write a song that served as an anthem to strip clubs where women would sometimes dance to Kiss tracks such as Heaven's on Fire and Lick It Up. The guitar solo features some of Bruce's gnarliest licks since producer Bob Ezrin challenged him to deliver a more ballsy solo instead of something more intricate. Eric Singer was scheduled to go on tour with Alice Cooper, so drummer Kevin Valentine plays on this track, and this song was performed during the Revenge tour, and when played live, the band would scope the local strip clubs show by show to allow for strippers to dance on stage during the song. Track 3, Tough Love. This is a collab from Paul, Bruce, and Bob Ezrin. Paul was responsible for the title, chorus, and theme of the song, and Bruce provided the lower-sounding riffs. The overall tone of the track is rather ominous with its dark instrumentation and rather taboo lyrics. Track 4, Spit. Written by Gene, Paul, and Scott Van Zen, this song was more so Gene's baby with its lyrics alluding to sex addiction and needing a whole lot of woman as the song describes. Some of the lyrics were actually nicked from an older Gene demo that he had recorded in the 70s with Aerosmith's Joe Perry called A Mongoloid Man, but he certainly caught a bit of hell for nicking the bigger the cushion, bigger the pushin' line from Spinal Tap's Big Bottom, but I guess he got away with it to an extent since Paul sang the line. During the solo section, Bruce sneaks in a few licks from the Star Spangled Banner in an obvious nod to Hendrix's rendition, and the band would go on to close the shows on the Revenge tour with their own bombastic rendition of it. Track 5, God Gave Rock and Roll to You. This track was originally written by Russ Ballard and recorded by Argent on their 1973 album In Deep. In 1991, Kiss had decided to record the track for the soundtrack to the film Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and the end result turned out to be more of a rewriting of the song by Gene, Paul, and Bob Ezrin. The single did remarkably well, charting in several different countries as well as the modern rock tracks, and due to Eric Carr's cancer diagnosis, Eric Singer plays drums on the track, but Eric contributes vocals during the song's middle break, and he also appeared in the song's music video wearing a wig because of the chemotherapy that he had received. And given the poignancy of the reworked song being Eric Carr's final appearance on a Kiss song and music video, it was included on Revenge as a lasting tribute to him. Track 6, Domino. This song, penned by Gene, has him tapping into some older territory, with him trying to rewrite a track like Deuce, but with a spoken word bit similar to Christine 16. It does also borrow parts from a song called Nasty Nasty by Tommy Thayer's pre-Kiss band Black and Blue. Lyrically, it tells about the man-sized predicament the protagonist has with a woman named Domino. The song was the third single to be released from the album, which did chart in the album rock tracks, and there was also a music video for it. The song was performed within the Revenge Tour setlist, but didn't survive past the makeup/reunion era. Now we're going to flip the album over to Side 2, Track 7, Heart of Chrome. Aside from writing with Gene, Vinnie Vincent had a chance to write with Paul on this song about betrayal and getting revenge. Ties in with the album title, of course. Of course, Vinnie ended up going back to his old tricks, and they severed ties with him, hence Bob Ezrin being brought in to finish this particular track. Not. This is the product of Gene and Jesse Damon, who was a part of the band Silent Rage, which Gene was producing for his Simmons Records label at the time, and he also sang background vocals on several tracks on this album. Based on some real-life encounters in Gene's life mixed with some biblical themes, Gene has described the song as The Who's My Generation meets the ideology of the term Go Fuck Yourself. Track 9, Every Time I Look at You. This song, written by Paul and Bob Ezrin, served as the obligatory ballad on the album, and when one hears it, you kind of get the sense that they were trying to recreate the magic they got with a song like Forever that brought forth some good fortunes, but this time around it is fleshed out with an orchestral string arrangement, and it seems like everywhere Bob Ezrin finds himself, Dick Wagner appears since he plays the guitar solo on this track. This song was released as the final single and music video in support of the album, and while this song had the potential to produce the same amount of success Forever had, and while I do think composition-wise it's a better song, it didn't do a thing. Track 10, Paralyzed. Gene originally started working on this track during the sessions for Hot in the Shade. His original idea was left unfinished and unsuitable for recording, so it was up to Bob Ezrin to round off the track. It is worth noting that an alternate version of this song with an extended mumbling break appears on the Argentinian cassette and vinyl pressings of the Revenge album. Track 11, I Just Wanna. Here is another Paul and Vinnie Vincent composition, which Paul states to be one of his favorite songs from the album. Despite being the first taste of the album the public would hear 1 month before the album's release due to a Los Angeles radio station airing a rough mix on the air, the song was released as the second single and music video to support the album, which did reside in the top 40 mainstream rock tracks. Track 12, Car Jam 1981. This track dates back to the sessions for The Elder in 1981 and was originally titled Heaven with some guitar work contributed by Ace, to which he then took the track and turned it into the song Breakout on his Fairly's Comet album in 1987. The main body of the track lies in the drum solo, and it's thanks to Bob Ezrin, who uncovered this piece from the tape vaults that the others didn't know existed. Gene tried to work in a melody to flesh it out and make it a full song, but it did not work, so the track remained an instrumental with the drum solo intact and all guitar work originally done by Ace replaced by Bruce. Alongside God Gave Rock and Roll to You, this track serves as a lasting tribute to Eric Carr. As for where this album stands in my Kiss catalog ranking, I would put Revenge at the number 9 spot. A lot of people tend to think that this album is overrated, but I honestly can't get enough of it since I feel it is the second best non-makeup era Kiss album. Hot in the Shade served as a hint for what the band was trying to accomplish with getting back to their roots, and with Bob Ezrin in the producer's chair, they finally delivered, and it seems like the band is finally comfortable being out of the makeup, and that reflected in the song power of the material on this album, and the band's stripped back yet dark image. And while the original lineup has that swing and swagger that is undeniable, I personally feel that this lineup of Simmons, Stanley, Kulick, and Singer is Kiss's most technically proficient lineup that provides tons of killer material along with the nice tributes to Eric Carr. This makes for essential listening when it comes to the non-makeup era Kiss albums. So there you guys go. That is the 20th episode of the 25 Days of KISSmas series. Stay tuned tomorrow for the 21st episode, and you can already guess what comes next. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, give it a like, and subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video, and most importantly, keep the records spinning.
Treetops glisten and children listen to hear